Hey Tyler, how are you doing? It's nice to actually see you join for once. I know you've been a busy guy, back to work and everything. I'm glad you can make it. Well, that's good. I'm sorry for the unfortunate chest cold, but I have had my fair share of ups and downs over the past couple weeks as well, so I understand. Um, but anyway, if you want to talk about anything, you're the only one here right now, so hopefully more people join later. I'm kind of up for open conversation. Also, I am glad to see that you're uploading again too. So, what do you think of the tour? I mean, I agree with you. I think if you want blood, it could have been. I don't think they could have picked a better opener that fit well, if that makes sense. I think if you want blood, fit everything as in musically, vocally. I think it just fit well as a good opener. And otherwise, in the tour, they did good. Well, better than good. They did great for what their age is. Um, I'm just hoping here soon they play in North America because that'll be the first time I get the chance to see them if they do come to the States. Um, so I'm waiting for that if that ever happens. But overall, I think the tour was great. I think Demon Fire and Shot in the Dark were probably two of the best choices off the album to play live. I think they did them very well. Um, Another thing, I'm glad they brought Stiff Upper Lip back. In my opinion, that's one of my favorite songs, and I think they did that very well. And some other things like High Voltage and Riff Raff, it was nice to see. I always prefer to hear High Voltage over songs like The Jack or something, because in my opinion, The Jack has been so played all through their history that it's nice to not hear it for once. So High Voltage was good. Riff Raff was awesome to hear. I do wish, however, which some people might not agree with it, but I wish they would have carried Given the Dog a Bone throughout because I really love that song live specifically. But it was nice to see Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be brought back um, in Paris. So maybe they were trying to change things up to see how it flowed. If they come, if they do other dates. But overall, I love it. Yes, Stiff Upper Lip, absolutely. That song live does it like the studio track doesn't do justice compared to the live. Like I think that song, like Gone Shootin', those songs were written and made to be played live. It wasn't made to be played in a studio and that's it. I think Stiff Upper Lip was made to be played live on a set list, and I think it just fits. I mean, I could go on and on and on about it, but Stiff Upper Lip is one of the favorite ones of mine that just is played very well, if that makes sense. But yeah, given the dog a bone, I wish they would. I hope they would bring it back. I just same thing goes along that. I think it's played live very well too. I love the sound of it live compared to the recorded studio track of it. I am also glad to see Brian's progress through the first night in Gelsenkirchen to the final night in Dublin. He progressively has gotten better each show every time they went out. Now, obviously, there's some days that not everyone's voice is going to be exactly the same every show, but overall, Brian 100%, and he got more confident. I think the first night he was a little uncomfortable because that was the first time he sang really live with the band since February 28th of 2016 in Kansas City. So I think he had a lot of nerves coming back out. But then after that, it was all over. He was 100% confident after that point. He was, unfortunately, he gets more hate than love. I think by a lot of people, which is unneeded, and I hate to see it. But Brian, he absolutely loves to sing. I think every time I see him, especially during like high voltage and certain songs like that, he absolutely can tell, or at least I can tell, that he loves his job. He loves doing it. He doesn't. He wants to do it for the fans. He likes to interact with them. And nothing makes me happier than seeing him happy out there on the stage again. That's about the only word you can say. Brian is absolutely awesome, fantastic. He gives his all every single show, no matter how he's feeling. He's always laying it on the line every time. And it's just so awesome to see him back. And the bond that him and Angus have is a lot closer than most people may think it is. So, hoping, let's cross our fingers they come to North America. Hey, I appreciate it. If you can get some more people in here, that'd be helpful. I don't. Sometimes my live streams, like the last one I actually published, I had a handful of people in here for a while, and then some other ones I've tried to do, no one joined, so I just ended it. Um, but yeah, I'm almost to 1,000. I mean, that where I'm at now is even more than what I anticipated when I first started this. And I still got loads and loads of shows yet to upload. And the way I do it, unfortunately, takes a lot longer because I do track by track. But once I get to 1,000, I hope to see a lot more growth come out of it. And I'm just doing it for fun. I want to share, and obviously, all the shows that I've collected, from you and other people. I'm not doing anything different than anyone else isn't doing, but there's just a lot of love for this band. So, yeah, live streams are hit or miss. It's just, I don't know if it's the wrong time of day, if it's the wrong day. Um, but when I got people in here, they are engaged like you are right now. They talk and everything else. And then there's some nights where I don't get anybody, and I just, I could sit here for 15 minutes waiting, and then no one would show up, so I just end it and forget about it. So if you want to help out, by all means, it's highly appreciated. If you think you can get some other people in here, but I just like to talk about the band. I like to answer questions. I just like to. I love this band. It's my you know it's my favorite band since I was probably 9, 10 years old. I still remember the first time I heard a song from not knowing who they were, and after that it was all over from there. Well, I don't remember the exact year, but unfortunately, you were a fan of '96, and I wasn't even born yet. So I was actually born in '98. So you were a fan before I was even alive. I don't remember the year. I would say probably 2000. I think it's about 9 or 10 years old. So I would say around 2007, 2008. I would say is when I first became a fan because I remember my best friend's dad. He was taking us somewhere. I was with him, and he wanted to play a song. And I think he had an iPod or MP3 player at the time. And I remember he played "Shoot to Thrill," and I sat back there. My 9, 10-year-old self was like, "Whoa," like this music. Who is that? And after that, I started learning more of the more common songs of the time, and then ever since, I've been full board. These are my guys. Yes, I like other music. I like other bands' songs, certain ones of other groups, but these guys are and forever will be my favorite. And there's something about it that no matter what mood I'm in, I could be sad, I could be happy, I could be angry or whatever. I could play any song and I would feel 100%. I feel peace when I listen to them. It's a weird thing. I can't really describe it. They're the best in my opinion. But see, he also played. Speaking of Thunderstruck, he also played that one. And it's kind of funny when they at the beginning of the song when they're yelling thunder. As a kid, I always thought they were saying Sunday for whatever reason because I couldn't make out what they were saying at the time when I was younger. So I kept thinking they were Sunday. So I'm sitting in the back here yelling Sunday when they're trying to say thunder. And my friend's dad was actually looking at me like, "What are you saying?" And then I later figured out they were yelling thunder. But you already know my top Brian song. It's "Anything Goes." For whatever reason, I don't know, it's just weird how you get into certain songs and you like certain ones. Like for me, it's "Anything Goes" and "Satellite Blues." I don't know if it's just the music part of it, like the riffs and how it sounds, but I've always liked them two the best, and they forever. I mean, my top 10 can change week to week, but those two are always in the top two um, for me every time. Thunderstruck's good. Like the way I say it is like songs like Thunderstruck and TNT and Hell Shook My Night all night long, and they're all good. But then you get to the point where the radio plays them so much that it kind of ruins it for you. You know, especially the studio version. The live versions, I could listen to live versions of Thunderstruck all day compared to the studio. And on your point, there's a lot of fans who hate Black Ice as an album in general. A lot of people hate anything past Razor's Edge, except for Power Up. People don't like Ball Breaker for whatever reason. No one likes Steph Upper Lip. Nobody likes Black Eyes. Nobody likes Rock or Bust. And I think, for me, that's my favorite era of Brian's voice is basically from Ball Breaker to now. I like that more than I do the '80s. If I were to listen to something live, 90% of the time I'm listening to something from Steph Upper Lip or Black Ice or Rock or Bust or Ball Breaker. Don't get me wrong. I like the '80s. I love every single era of the band's history. Um, but for me, from 1995 to now is my favorite era of Brian's voice. I think those are some of the best albums, in my opinion. I don't know if it's just because I find them very underrated, so I love them more than the one like Back in Black that's way overplayed, other than a couple songs. Um, so It's always interesting to see other people's opinions on things. Now, Tyler, let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask you one. Out of the main problem with Black Ice, I mean, yeah, Black Ice, 15 songs was a little much. I guess. Um, but the songs that people consider fillers aren't bad. You know, could they have gone without a song like Decibel or Wheels or something? Probably, but they're still. I mean, they're not bad by any means. Or I think one of the most underrated tracks on Ball Breaker is The Furor. I think that's a really good song all around. Um, of course, you got the big ones like Hard as a Rock, Cover You in Oil, Hail Caesar, Ball Breaker, Boogeyman. But I think The Furor is good. Burning Alive is really good. Whiskey on the Rocks is good. Cottonwoods of Pants sounds good. I feel like that one's probably the one that they kind of came up with to fill the album up. Um, on Stiff Upper Lip, Can't Stand Still is a really good one. Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you, out of the songs that they played like an extended time outside of Let There Be Rock, so things like Jailbreak, Bad Boy Boogie, Boogeyman, shit, maybe I might be forgetting one. Ones with the long solo in the middle and Angus does whatever he wants to do. Which one did you prefer in the set list? Did you like Jailbreak over Bad Boy Boogie? Did you like Boogeyman with the long over the other three? The Jack. Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot the Jack. In Black Eyes they had a long. It's true. I always forget about the Jack sometimes. But yeah, you're right. They did have in the long stretch there in Black Ice where that was the quote unquote long solo song in the middle of the set list. Um, for me, I always liked how Bad Boy Boogie sounded during the Stiff Upper Lip tour. Um, Whenever, especially once the solo is getting done and Angus and Malcolm are coming back to pick the song back up at the end, I think it hits really hard. I always liked when that came back. Plus, another thing I liked was High Voltage. I like when High Voltage, like in the middle when Brian's yelling, and then when they're building it back up towards the end. High Voltage to me is just that and Bad Boy Boogie. I think are my two favorites when they did the solo in the middle of you know you know what I'm trying to say. Hello, Angus. If you're asking me, I'm doing well. If you're asking Tyler, he'd probably tell you the same thing for the most part, I guess. But thanks for joining the stream. Hopefully, we can get some more people. Feel free to ask any questions. Um, If you want to talk about anything specific, just ask me, and I'll join in and give you my opinion or my thoughts. And so, did you see them in London on this last tour? Hey, I'm glad, Tyler. As always, it's always hard to get back and agree with things. Um, so Angus, how was the show in your opinion and in London? How was the tour in your from your eyes? Like how do you think they did? What was your in your opinion? What song did you enjoy the most? Do you think that they played Demon Fire and Shot in the Dark pretty well? I think they played them both well across the tour. Whole Lot of Rosie is always a banger. It doesn't matter what when they play it. That song's always it's always great. I am interested to see if they do um, release any video footage of the shows in Wembley. I know there was a rumor saying that they were going to make live DVD or something out of it. So hopefully they'll release something like that. It'd be nice to see another official DVD or something that comes out. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. They unfortunately just had like a neon sign like Rosie on the screens and stuff. The blow up one, that's what everyone likes. That's what everyone loves to see. So I don't know if they just didn't feel like they needed to do that, or if maybe they didn't have enough. You never know. You never know what goes through their mind or what they plan and think of doing. Um, but hopefully they come to North America because then that'll be my first time seeing them if I get the chance to. I don't. You're not going to take heat from me. I think the whole sound is better. They play more tighter because I might get heat for this, but during the Rocker Bus tour, Chris Slade had no rhythm to his playing. Yeah, during the Razor's Edge tour, he did. On Rocker Bus, I think there wasn't. It didn't sound smooth. It kind of just sounded. Yeah, kind of just sounded like he was banging drums back there. But yeah, on this tour, Matt Log is probably the best choice they could have made to fill in for Phil Rudd on this because he sounds almost just like him. It sounds so much tighter and on point than it did during Rocker Bust. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Rocker Bust tour, but I agree with you. It sounds they sound better on this Power Up tour than they did on the last one. Yeah, I did see that. They just performed Killing Floor over in London, I think it was. Brian was over there in London playing with Slash, singing "Killing Floor," the song that he sang on Slash's album. Um, I haven't seen any good clips of it yet. One clip I did see, you couldn't hear Brian very well. They had the music way higher than his microphone, but I'm gonna have to check it out and see what it sounded like. 100%. Brian's always been a showman, but his voice on that album, though, I mean, that's if he sang, he would be such a great like blues singer. You know, his voice sounds so good in that kind of music, and of course it sounds good in our band too. You know, our favorite band anyway. But you'll have to refresh me on what show you saw. I know that you said that you saw him in 2009. What was the date? And was it the Rogers Center? I can't remember what you said. Cool, cool. Now, something interesting, something about River Plate that I took probably way too long to recognize. Um, I never knew right away that they actually took footage from all three dates at River Plate and put it into one DVD. At first, I was completely blind about that. I thought it was just from the one of the dates, but apparently it was recorded by the three dates at River Plate. Tyler's the man for the video stuff, I tell you. I mean, he's the man for everything. I never heard about that one, about Brian being upset with Eddie Trunk, probably because people like him try to like always constantly ask questions. When are you playing? When are you playing live? When are you playing live? And the band isn't very open with media to begin with, so he probably got tired of it. But I don't really know. I never heard that he got mad at him, so I'll have to do some research on that one. 100%. I remember when I first started my channel, I had a bunch of CDs like like the old Waldorf in 1977, and the Tokyo of 81, and the Urban Meadows of 86. I had like all those good recording soundboard CDs, and I remember to myself, tried to get the audio off of it because I wanted to put it on my iPod because I still use an iPod for all my music or all of the live shows I've collected. And I thought to myself, I could upload this for fun. People could listen to it. And then after that, I just started doing it, and I've enjoyed every second of doing it. And I always like to see new shows that pop up that I don't have that I can add to the collection. No, I haven't. I'm in North America, so they haven't came over here yet. We're hoping that they do. But if they do, I want to go at least twice minimum because I've yet to see them. So I want to make it count if they do come to North America. As in, most of us probably never will get a chance to meet the band, to be honest. But wouldn't it be cool? I wouldn't know what to do if I got to meet them. I would probably tear up. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I go to see them, if I go to see them, I probably will cry because these guys have been my favorite group for years. And if I ever get a chance to see them, it's going to be such a surreal experience for me. See, Gone Shootin', like I said before, that song was made to play live, in my opinion. Like, it sounds so good regardless who's playing it, like, whether it be in the 70s or whether it be, in 2003, at the end of 2001, or 96 for that VH1. What do you think the most underrated album is? Oh my, that's a good question. Um, Underrated. Let me look around here since I got all the albums hung up. Let me see. Underrated. Well, I'm gonna cancel out Who Made Who only because there's only three original songs on that album. Two of them were instrumental, because the rest of the album was already pre-release songs. So that's gonna get canceled out. Underrated. No, I have three in mind. I have three albums that. This is tough. Because there's a lot of. This is really hard. I got three albums, pretty much, that I think are underrated, but choosing one of the three. There's one album in particular that I think the more I listen to it, the more I'm wondering why not many people like it, or as I should, or more of the public critics and such. Um, but for me, I think one of the most underrated ones is "Blow Up Your Video." To be honest with you, outside of Heatseeker, and that's the way I want to rock and roll. Songs like "Go Zone," awesome. "Nick of Time," awesome. "Choose Up," awesome. "Rough Stuff," "Some Sin for Nothing." I think that album, you never hear anybody talk about it. You know, I think "Flick of the Switch" is a very underrated one. Again, most people don't talk about anything from "Flick of the Switch" to "Blow Up Your Video," "Fly on the Wall." Like, nobody ever really wants to talk about those three albums. Um, Another one that I think is underrated, even though it was the very first one, is the international version of "High Voltage." The standard one that most of us are used to, not the Australian one or the TNT album, but the international "High Voltage," in my opinion, is also underrated because most people only talk about TNT, and it's a long way to the top. One of my favorite Bond songs ever is "Livewire." Underrated. That's interesting that you put down Power Age as underrated because I feel like a lot of people love Power Age a lot. I mean, I think it's probably Bond's best album, as most people would. But going back to the High Voltage, one of my favorite Bond songs is Livewire. I just listened to it played on my shuffle on the way home from work today. It was actually, what was it, the Netherlands? It was the soundboard recording with the Netherlands. I think Livewire hits really good. But it's an interesting list that you have Power Age on there. That's kind of cool to see. My favorite Power Age song is probably Rock and Roll Damnation. And you're right. It's not recognized as much as Back in Black. I think Back in Black is one of the most overplayed albums. Outside of there's like three songs in there that are excluded from the overplayed, and that's Giving the Dog a Bone, um, Let Me Put My Love Into You, Shake a Leg. Those three aren't really played much. Having Drink on Me, I would say probably still is a little bit underrated because it's not played as much, but on the radio it is. 100%, I agree with you. Thunderstruck is way better live than it is. I could listen to Thunderstruck live over and over rather than listen to the studio version of Thunderstruck because I think that song's way overplayed on the radio as well. And that's what ruins it though. Like that's what ruins good studio songs is when radios play any song of any band over and over and over and over again. Then you gotta get tired of hearing it. But I can listen to the live version because I got hundreds of different live versions of Thunderstruck from 1990 to now. Hello, Storm OS, or should I call you Ben? Is that your name? Thanks for joining. As in, I'm sure most of their, speaking of the Razor's Edge, if we want to go in that direction, um, the album was also great. My favorite off the album is probably Are You Ready? I really wish they would have played Are You Ready a lot more, though, during the Razor's Edge tour. I think that would have been a good song, in my opinion, to open up with. And, like, instead of opening with Thunderstruck, they should have opened up with Are You Ready? I feel like that would have been just one of the perfect openers. You can see the stage all dark, and then they just start opening up with that riff of Are You Ready? And then I feel like that would have been a more perfect opening than Thunderstruck. Yeah, unfortunately, copyright is a pain, especially when they claim certain songs are not what they claim that it is. So then you get exactly you get upset because it's like, no, this isn't from Live at River Plate. This is from such and such date before River Plate, or or Donington, or whatever they claim that it's supposed to be. I just never understood why they have such strict copyright on their music. You would think that they would. Well, it's not really them. I guess it's Sony, but or whoever owns I asked him that too, and I forget what he said that he, and I don't remember what he told me, but I also asked the same question to him because he posted a lot of them. Like, I don't, uh, shoot, I can't think today. Today's been a long day. Sometimes I'm having a hard time thinking sometimes, but yeah, he uploaded some music videos on his channel, and I can't remember what he told me how he did it. But anyway, Ben, if you want to ask anything, feel free to ask anything. If you want my thoughts on something, I'm here for as long as anyone wants to stick around. Which, what's your page? What's your name of your fan page? I'll look you up. I did find you, so I'm gonna check that out. I see that you must have posted some videos of when you were in Wembley, so that's pretty cool. I have to look at it later. Um, I agree. I agree, Tyler. It has been quiet in the bootleg universe. I don't know if it's because most people weren't recording any of the shows from the Power Up tour, or if they do and they're just waiting for the right time to share them. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we get some good quality audio from some of these shows at some point, if ever. You would think now would be this time of this day and age would be the perfect. Everyone's got sources for recording stuff. to do it. But again, a lot of places might get more strict on, I don't know. But I'm hoping they release something. That was during 2003, right? When they played with the Stones after their Hall of Fame inductee, they went on like a mini tour in 2003 when they played some good songs. That's when they first brought out "If You Want Blood" with Brian, I think. Then they played "What's Next to the Moon," "Rock and Roll Damnation," "Gone Shootin'" for 2 shows. "Hard as a Rock" they brought back, which is a banger of a song. I don't have the DVD for Toronto, but I have the Circus Crone one. But yeah, I don't think I have the DVD for the Toronto SARS Festival. I wouldn't mind if they brought Hard as Rock back, but I don't. You won't see that happening, probably, unfortunately. I do wonder how they. Well, I guess I shouldn't question it because they did release part of that Toronto show on Plug Me In, I think it was. So they had to have had official recordings of it to be able to do that. I was gonna ask, well, how do they have such good quality recording of it? But then I remembered that they did put some of it on Plug Me In. Yeah, Brian did Back in Black with a couple of different people, didn't he? He did it at the Taylor Hawkins. He played it with Muse or Muse back in 17. Did he play with the Foo Fighters alone? Was that not the Taylor? Was that or was that part of the Taylor Hawking? Was that just the Foo Fighters at the tribute, or is that a bunch of other different people? Because I think during that they had Lars from Metallica on the drums. They had Brian singing, and I can't remember if they who else they had on the stage at the time. But I do remember Lars was playing the drums and Brian was singing. Which I did see. This isn't like. That's right. He did. Good thing you're refreshing my brain because I forgot about the Billy Joel one. And yes, Tyler, Hard as a Rock is definitely a ball breaker, stiff upper lip tour iconic. Such a great song. I think Brian, on his Life on the Road show or something, he did an episode with Dave Grohl. He also did a couple with like Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. He did. Oh shoot, I can't think of the Led Zeppelin singer. His name just went out of my head. But he did one with him. I think a couple other people. Sting, yep. I'm blanking out on what his name is. Thank you, Robert Plant. I could not think of that for the sake of me. Yeah, he did Robert Plant. He did one with Sting. He did one with Dave Grohl. He did one with Mark Knopfler. I don't remember if who else he did one with, because I only got to see the Dave Grohl one. I never, Tyler. No, I haven't. I know there's a couple tribute bands out there. There's one that plays local, kind of in my area, but I've never got to see them play. I think Back in Black tribute band comes around my area of the states a good bit, but I never got a chance to see them because I've been waiting so long to see the actual boys. But I hear that a lot of the tribute bands are good. All right, Tyler. Well, hey, thanks for joining. At least it was nice to talk with you and everything. Hopefully we can. It'd be cool someday to actually have a live stream with both of us. I think that I don't know how that would even happen, but it'd be interesting. But thanks for popping in. Like I said to anybody else that's still here, I'm here as long as anyone wants to stick around for another hour or two. Um, well, Angus will thank you for joining the stream as well. So hopefully I get some other people. If not, then I'll end the stream tonight shortly if no one else wants to stick around. But thanks for joining, and look for more streams to come in the future. If everyone likes to do this, I'll keep trying to do them. I'll remember that, Tyler, for Fridays. So if you want to join any streams, I'll try to plan for Fridays. But that would be cool if you can figure out how to do that. I would love to have a joined stream with you sometime. Well, thanks for joining, Angus. Appreciate it. You too.